Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID Tottenham Till I Die. And that might be the case. We might all die before they sort this football club out. We may need to be reincarnated. I mean, spring is sort of barely on us, but there's no green shoots of recovery at this football club. And I don't see things changing that much, you know. Relegation looms. And I'm normally a very positive Spurs fan, but I actually think we're going down. So anyway, on that positive note, I've got a fantastic panel for you. I've got Phil King from Frankfurt Spurs. How are you, Phil? What's the weather like in Germany?
Evening, Adrian. Yeah, I'm actually quite good today. It was sunny all week. It's actually pouring with rain today, so it matches kind of the mood this morning after the night before. But on reflection today, after having quite a busy day at work, I'm pretty good. And yeah, I'm kind of just obviously refreshing Twitter and X constantly for updates on stuff, but also on the other hand, trying to keep away from Spurs as well. But we come back here and we do it all again, don't we? And trust the company. And it's a pleasure to be on as always.
You signed a lifelong contract. If you lose all your win bonuses and everything, right? So, you know. So you can get over to Phil here on XCOM, guys. Those you viewing us now, and those of you that watch us on playback. I'll move over to now introduce Sai. How are you, Sai?
Yeah, I'm all right. Bearing in mind with what's going on at the moment, Adrian. Still here. What? Unwashed white shirt and black tie. I'm very close to doing every podcast in a hearse now as well, Adrian. It's getting that bad.
Well, you can find, go on, Karen. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, for once, I was glad I was at work at 4 o'clock in the morning this morning, so I could go to. I went straight to bed at half-time and just switched it off. So I can get a good night's sleep.
As I joked previously, I don't want to see you hanging from a Birmingham lamppost with that black tie, right? So now move over to Gary, Project Spurs. He leads Project Spurs. Get over there, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Give the videos a thumbs up. You know, you can find Gary pretty well everywhere. He puts himself about. So he's a qualified coach. So we're in need of intelligent advice. Right, so Gary, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Needed some therapy today. So hopefully the three of you can help me on that. Pretty poor night overall yesterday, wasn't it? And situation that we're finding ourselves in, continuously finding ourselves in, and the debacle and just constant bad press that's coming out. But apart from that, yeah, I'm doing okay. Hopefully a nice bit of therapy for us all.
Right, okay, let's hide this. I'm going to start with you. Right, so when the team was announced, I mean, there's been a big cry from the fan base to give Kinksky a game. Oh, my God. But when the team was announced, prior to the debacle, I mean, like, what was your thoughts?
For me, initially, to be honest, he's obviously adamant with a back three, and I don't mind a back three personally. A 3-4-2-1 is fine. I think it works for me. But again, that's when we're struggling for numbers. You're screaming out. You got your back four sat there screaming at you. You could have gone with Spencer at right back, Van der Ven at left back, and Romero and Danza at centre half, and you're there, aren't you? And you got a real tough, robust back four, and even Pedro Porro could have pushed on into a right midfield if you had to. And yeah, again, it was. He wants to play this back three. I thought I was quite happy Kinski was getting a game. If I'm completely honest, I'm not gonna lie about it. I thought Richarlison deserved to play. I was pleased to see Tell. Always happy to see Gray and Sarr play. And I'm a big fan of Danzo and Porro, so it wasn't too bad. Just again, formation wise, I was a little bit that you've got a really strong, robust back four there. The players are clearly in recent games been struggling for confidence, but also a setup that they're used to. Just stick with a back four. They've been playing it for years. Pretty much played it together.
All pre-season we played it, and then we changed now. You know what I mean?
Just go back to basics. You've been brought in to bring in that type of basics.
We get switching to a back five during a game, trying to see a game out and things like that. But when you've done it in pre-season, that should set the model for the season. Phil, on the setup, he likes Moani, doesn't he?
It's an understatement, isn't it? I don't want to see him anymore play for us, Colin Moani. Like, he's been probably one of our worst signings, over the last 20 years or whatever, in terms of what we probably hoped to get from him. He's been a massive letdown, massive disappointment. There was a couple of little glimmers in the middle, wasn't there, that we thought he was coming into form and he was finding his feet. But, then he just goes in these little periods of games where he just does absolutely nothing. And there was a pass yesterday where he was trying to put someone through on the edge of the box and he just passed it out of play. It was just awful. Look, Tudor knows Moani from Juventus, obviously trusts him in some shape or form. So I can understand why Igor Tudor is playing him at the end of the day, right? He's got a connection with him. There would have been other options. Obviously Xavi didn't start the game. Tel can also play on the right. Obviously, Solanke didn't start the game, but, he's probably fit at the end of the day, right? He should be fit to start the game, really. So there would have been plenty of other options. He could have obviously played, theoretically, even Porro as a winger or something, right? Which a lot of fans have called for in the past, and I wouldn't have anything against that because his crossing is just so good. He's probably the best crosser in our team and in our squad. So it is how it is, but Moani obviously he's flattered to deceive. He was awful. And
so what system? Okay, I threw Moani at you, but what was you expecting? Like, what was it from this? Like,
well, I was
3-5-2 or whatever. I mean, I'm a fan of 3-5-2. If we're going to play it, 3-5-2 for me, because when they say no wingers, it would tell you your fullback should get forward, shouldn't your wing backs, and put the crosses in.
Thing is, he played Tel, Richarlison, and Moani together, and there wasn't really a number 10 like elsewhere in the team. So, Tel was kind of out on the left, and Richarlison was pretty central. Moani was just wherever. That's what I thought he would actually play, like kind of 3-5-2. I thought it would pack the midfield a bit actually as well. I was a bit disappointed though. I was hoping he might go and play a back four, and do a 4-2-3-1. Or even a 4-3-3 if needed, or some kind of variant of that. But obviously he went with a back three or back five, whatever. So I was a bit disappointed with the setup, actually. I was happy that Gray started the game, obviously in midfield, though. That was one good thing. Obviously Van der Ven and Romero fit. I would have still played Van der Ven as left back. I say it every pod, but I just don't understand why all of these managers don't seem to either want to or I mean, they must understand it surely, but they don't seem to believe in this kind of like balance, question. You play left footers on the left, and I know often they play these inverted wingers, don't they? So you play a right footer on the left, and you play a left footer on the right. A bit like Kudus, who can play with both feet, but he's left-footed really. But I think at the back you need to have a left-footed left back and a right-footed right back, and I just don't understand why Van der Ven hasn't played there once this season, even under Frank as well. He plays every international break. He's playing there for the Netherlands, He could have still played Romero and Danzo as the centre backs, Porro. But look, I mean, he's still playing. How did I say it this time? And let me get the phrase right. Was it round pegs
Square
in round
pegs in
holes?
round.
Yeah, exactly. round poles in round holes. I think that's what I said last time. But yeah, but you know what I mean, right? I mean, like my minimum expectation of our manager, whoever it is, actually, is to just play players in their right positions, right, in positions that they know how to play and that give a team a balance. And that was my minimum expectation of Frank, and that was my minimum expectation of Tudor, and certainly for this game it was go back to basics. So I was a bit disappointed by that, but I was okay. I was happy that Kinski was starting as well, by the way. I've been calling for Kinski to start since last season, even, to be honest, and in my opinion Kinski should have got game time much earlier this season. He should have got game time, but he hasn't, and I thought it was the right decision personally. I know in hindsight it's all easy, isn't it, to look back on everything, and if you kind of analyze that, he hasn't played a single minute this season, then he's probably going to be a bit rusty. But I thought it wasn't a bad thing to drop Vicario, let's put it that way.
So your take on the team and system?
Yeah, I mean, I can only really, Adrian, echo what the other two have said. I mean, I was a bit shocked to not see Solanke starting. I was happy to see Richarlison, and I would have liked to see Solanke as well. I agree with Phil with Moane. I just can't have him anymore. I mean, he is one of the worst. Probably not as bad as Ndombele, but he's definitely one of the worst players we've had. And same with the others. Kinski, I was happy that he come in, but part of me did think, well, it's a big game to put him in away from home at Athletico Madrid. But I was still happy to see it because I've been shouting for Vic to be dropped and Kinski given a game. So, I was pleased with that. But like Phil said, in hindsight, he should have been given an early game. Maybe the Palace game at home. There were rumours that he'd be playing in that one. I think that would have been better for him to play and then play in the Atletico Madrid game. 3 at the back, I expected that. The back 5 was exactly what I expected. Once again, Xavi not even getting a look on the bench again. I don't know if that's tactical or what, perhaps. But overall, yeah, I mean, it was sort of as I expected. Solanke, really, I was a bit disappointed not to see him start.
Yeah, I was as well. And I mean, I'm just not happy with this back 5. I mean, I think it's time to bin it, really. I mean, I know it's the way Tudor plays, but I mean, can any of you, I'll throw that to any of you, can any of you remember when we played a back 5 and it's worked under any manager?
I remember, the Super Cup against PSG, Thomas Frank played 3 at the back then, and we did play well. Bearing in mind, I mean, PSG had already played in the World Club Cup, hadn't they? So they went fully up to fitness or whatever. But I think we played quite well in a back 5 in that game. But apart from that, there's not really any other game I can think of, to be honest.
Gary, I mean, you sort of half alluded to it earlier. I mean, if you're going to do this and get it in the players' heads, you use a few pre-season games to do this and play a back five, don't you? I mean, like, it just look, with Spurs fans have called everything, everything under the sun because things are going wrong. We're all clutching at straws, trying to find solutions for which seem to be insurmountable problems. And yet, to me, you don't play like. And I get intelligent, well-informed Spurs fans' opinions, and they're desperate as well. But to me, you do it pre-season, you play through friendlies that way, and you get the players into it. I just don't think the players are taken to it. The wing backs have never got forward, both in the system when we try to use it.
Well, we're all desperate at this point, I think, Adrian. But when you make a change from any manager that is going to an interim or a caretaker scenario, I don't know of any situation, and if someone does in the chat, please correct me, of knowing really anybody that's come from outside of the Premier League, that's never played in the Premier League, has never managed in it, never even coached in it, nothing, to come in and take on a team in a relegation fight. But he's come in and taken on that fight, and credit to him for doing so. Equally, he's now 4 games and it's 4 different formations. It's 4 different setups or variations of that formation, 4 different lineups. He's coming in and trying to act like it's a pre-season and effectively going, right, I need to understand these players. Well, we don't have time for that. That is the scenario. And this is why, again, Yang Lang and Vinay Venkatesan have made such a grave mistake in going with this appointment, because he's clearly out of his depth, massively out of his depth. And it's not, that's no disrespect to him. Probably is a fantastic coach, maybe a great manager, if he gets time to work with you. We just don't, we don't have that time. And this is why somebody from within the club, even if it had been Johnny Heitinger, for example, or whoever, somebody within the club needed to have come in and take over, or somebody that's been in the Premier League, that's played in it, managed in it, maybe not played in it so much, but definitely managed or coached in it, has to come in and had to have been able to make these changes. Unfortunately, it's just a huge gamble that has not paid off. I don't expect him to be here, which I'm sure we'll get into, but it's a really grave situation because he wants to play one way, and unfortunately, we can't do that. We don't have enough time to be able to take those risks. Go to basic football.
The system, Phil. To me, it's been one of the heart of the problems. I was brought up in Spurs DNA, a fast, attractive style of football, attacking style of football. I knew what we was going to get on the pitch, even through the 70s and 80s. I even watched the double side play, showing my age, But as a kid, that was so. But, I mean, surely if you want to create that DNA in a football club, you try as best you can with the players you've got, from your lowest academy level down to the 8s, what's legally allowed or whatever it is, for obvious reasons. And you play the same style of football through the club, so all levels. I mean, obviously you can tweak it here and there in games and whatever. You play the same style of players, and you've got that DNA there. So when you bring a manager in, or you interview managers that have got that DNA. Surely you do that. I mean, it just makes common sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, we haven't done that, for years. I mean, you could argue, have we ever done that? At least like since the 70s and the 80s almost, right? Or early 90s probably. I mean, to be honest, when was the last time that we've gone from one manager to another one where they've, either been very similar or they've, from a playing style and from a background kind of style, or, in terms of trying to be very clear about the type of football that we're playing. I can't tell you when that would be. We had Poch, we had Sherwood in the middle, we had AVB, we had Harry, we had Martin Yole. Okay, I guess, those times around then, maybe Martin Yole, kind of Harry, AVB, they were all pretty attacking managers, not really sit back managers. But obviously shortly before that, we had some other people in there as well, including that man that should not be named from the other side.
Monday Ramos and
people like that, right? Santini, and obviously Gunnar George as well, right? People like that, So there was never any. But so you could argue, that the club, in some respects, probably, let's say since ENIC took over, right? Because even probably in the late 90s before that, there was a bit more. We had Jerry Francis and other people like that before that, right? But probably since ENIC have taken over, there's not been any clear strategy in terms of trying to either rebuild this DNA or build this DNA and try and keep that over X amount of years and continue to invest in it, because the decisions that have been made by the club have been wrong, one after the other, and look, I don't think we don't need to dissect, the ENIC tenure now, and that's not what I want to do, but you could argue that even the Pochettino appointment was lucky. In some respects, it was not a perfect storm, but it was a perfect alignment at that time, wasn't it? It worked out, and we had Harry Kane coming through. We had the likes of Dembele just hitting the ground running and being amazing, and then Sonny, and all of that coming together. That was almost luck, probably looking back, I would say. So whatever happens moving forward after the summer, we need to try and reboot that. And whether that's, again, an ownership change, whether it's just a change of the senior, board members, or let's say the likes of Vinay and Langer anyways, and the alignment of the new sporting director and the manager, that needs to come in the summer, regardless of whether in the Championship or in the Premier League, right? That has to come. And as for now, Adrian, obviously Tudor has been a complete, from a style of football, well, I mean, he's generally more of a defensive manager, isn't he? But I still don't really know what he's trying to do, and he keeps changing things. I think the players don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They haven't known what they're supposed to be doing all season, and probably even into the Ange era up to a certain extent. Some of them have been in positions, where they've been left open at the back, so fact is we're dealing with a squad that's lost, what was it I saw today, 45 games since the beginning of last season in all competitions. I mean, if you lose that amount of games, it's no surprise that you're going to have a team of players who are just on the floor, confidence wise and belief wise. And is Tudor the guy to rebuild that confidence in the short term now in the remaining games? Well, I certainly don't think so, and I think probably the majority of Spurs fans don't think so. But now it's up to the board, or rather, it's up to Vinay and Mr. Langer, by the looks of it, to kind of make a decision or plan that, right, as and how they want to do it.
Si, these different changes of managers. I mean, you bring a manager in that suits the squad you've got as well, don't you? But we're so imbalanced now, no matter who you brought in. But as an example, you bring a manager in that suits the squad, wouldn't you? Not that he was 3 different players or won't play him or play him,
Yeah, I mean, it was a gamble bringing Tudor in, wasn't it? I think, obviously Paratici liked him. And I think they looked at what he'd done at the previous clubs in helping them get to where they wanted in such a short space of time, hoping that he'd have the same effect here. But as the lads have said, no experience in the Premier League. And in those other jobs, he hadn't been fighting relegation. He just dropped out the Champions League places, had to get them back in there. I mean, that's a lot easier than trying to get a team that hasn't won for over 2 months in the Premier League just to get us our first win. It's a total different game than what he had at Juventus and Lazio. But yeah, I mean, they should have. I just don't think, to be honest, Adrian, I don't think they had a clue who to appoint. Obviously, Paratici had already left. So
I
they
think,
just thought,
as Gary alluded to, they wanted to get someone like Tudor in at the beginning of the season. I think that was the Paratici model, not to bring him in now, right? Because you need a pre-season to play his way, which we've spoken about. Yeah. Right.
Sorry, guys. Didn't it come out though that we know that Paratici lined up Tudor potentially to take over from Frank like in November, or he was pushing for that. But didn't it come out that he did in fact want Tudor from the beginning of the season? Wasn't that a pretty much confirmed quote, or bit of news?
Yeah, I don't think it was a quote, but it was certainly was leaked that he was the one that Tudor was wanted in the summer, and then he wanted him again in November, and then apparently that's where the fallout started. If he was like, well, I'm off, that type of scenario. So in a way, thankfully, we didn't get him in the summer.
Well, stay with you, Gary, on the subs, right? 9 subs. For those of you watching that don't know, you're allowed 12 subs in Europe. I've been banging on we should be allowed 12 in the Premier League. We'll see if anything comes of that in the future, especially with these injuries clubs are getting when the players having to stop for 5 minutes on a VAR decision and things like that. So 9 subs instead of 12, that sums up where we are really, Gary, doesn't it?
There's 2 goalkeepers again on the bench, unfortunately. Again, a small amount of under 21s on there. I think there was they're on the screen, aren't they? There's 2 listed there. I thought there was 3, but there's 2 listed on the screen. It's Callum Molasesi and James Rosewell. Again, James is a good player at the back. Callum is a very good centre midfielder. Equally, both would have massively struggled yesterday, I think, in such a situation. But it just shows the squad planning again. I know we can keep going on about the ownership and the people in charge, but we do have to keep that is where the buck ends. Unfortunately, the squad planning over a number of summers, the number of windows has been atrocious. And we're going into Champions League games with 2 goalkeepers sat on our bench. It's not good. It's not good enough, unfortunately. We should be one of the biggest clubs in the country, and we're not. And that's the reality of it. And we have got a squad full of squad players from the last 4 or 5 managers. I think a lot of these players are squad players. Brandon Austin, let's be completely honest, he's probably never going to play for anyone else. Vicario at best is a mid-table goalkeeper in the Premier League. He'll probably go into the big boys in Italy. Same for Dragusin. Gallagher, I think if you play him in the right position, he could probably be a top sort of 6 player. You could see what he was doing at Palace. Callum and James is just too early to tell. Polini, I think, again, he could probably be in and around a top 10 side, but he's not going to break into he wouldn't go into a Man City or an Arsenal or Chelsea.
If we activate the loan, which I don't think we will, the way we're going. I don't think we will.
But these are the people we're looking for, right? Yeah. These are the people we're going with. Xavi Simons, I mean, we've spent an awful amount of money on him. He seems to spend most of his time sat on the bench. And Dominic Solanke, I like him, but I feel for him because he's trying to fill the biggest shoes that this club's ever seen, and it's going to always be difficult. But when he plays and he gets the service, he puts the ball in the net, and that is the hardest job to do in football. It's just a really poor squad, poor squad management.
Right, unfortunately for the 250 viewing us on very platforms, we have to talk about the game, right? So I'm going to come to you, Phil. On 4 minutes, Spence fouls Griezmann a yellow card. I think this was a portent of things to come. And then on 6 minutes, Kinski slips. Alvarez to Llorente. Nice finish into the corner. I mean, you're all thinking, well, I was thinking, oh, how typical of us.
Well, again, you can't make it up, can you? It's like it's like a circus. I mean, like these things are like, you wouldn't believe that these things can actually happen. Kinski comes in for his first minutes of the season. Within 6 minutes, he slips and he gives the ball away. It's literally almost like a parody or something. But I was really annoyed just before that when Spence got booked, actually, because, it was just like, dude, like, why are you getting booked like in a situation like that so early in the game? I was angry at Spence in that moment. And then obviously the goal came after that. And look, I mean, look, it looks bad, doesn't it? It looks shocking. I mean, he slips. There's a goalkeeping error, and it's led directly to a goal. I would say in that case, and to be honest, I haven't seen the slow motions of all the goals in detail because I couldn't take it to be honest yesterday or today. But I think I could at least maybe try and bring Kinski a bit, like protect him a bit for that first goal, because as you saw, all of the players slipping around, like Bambi on ice, like literally in that whole first half, let's say, or in the game. But like certainly the beginning of that game, everyone was slipping all over the place, and he did. And I've got to say, it obviously looks terrible, but I have to give him a bit of, I don't know, protection or something. I'm a massive Kinski fan anyway. I've been calling for him all season. I still believe that Kinski's going to be a great keeper at a really high level. I hope he gets over, what happened to him yesterday, because it wasn't nice. But I got to protect him a bit for that first goal. But obviously, it's a terrible start to the game. It's a gifted goal from nowhere. And, it kind of sets the scene for things to come.
Sire, okay, we're thinking 1-0 down. All right. Typical Spurs start to a game recently. Like, surely things won't get much worse. We'll get a foothold in the game. But, 8 minutes later, Saar passed, VDV slips. Right, we had 10 slips in this game, by the way. I'm going to come on to Gary about the slips in a minute. Griezmann scores, nice finish in the corner, and you're sort of thinking, this is a mountain to climb now. And
yeah, it's
are we going to crumble?
It was another slip, like you said. Saar with a simple ball back to Van der Ven, and his slip was probably the third or fourth slip in that short period of time. And then obviously, as soon as Griezmann went through one-on-one, I thought to myself, this is 2-0 straight away, and it was good finish. Kinski couldn't do much about it, really. It just when it what's the saying? When it rains, it pours, and that's what's happening to Spurs at the moment. Just every little thing is going wrong. It was just, you just thought after that second one went in, you thought, right, all right, we'll sort it out. We're not going to slip. They'll sort the beats out. And you thought, right, like you said, let's go for it now. Let's calm down. And it was just, a couple of minutes later as well, it was just
I'm going to come to Gary on that one. Yeah,
just got worse.
So it's 2-0, Gary. We're thinking, can we sort of like get a foot in this game? Hold on. A minute later, 15 minutes, VDV pass. Kinski slips again. Alvarez tapped him while Kinski's got his head buried in the turf, right? I mean, what I want to ask as well, back in the day, I don't know. I didn't even source this to find out. What is it with players' footwear now? Years ago, you'd have a longer stud. They've all got these new Ponzi boots now, only one style and one size fits all, or do players have more than one pair of boots? But have there any variation in footwear or what?
Yeah, there's several. You'll get what essentially you'll find off the shelf, but they'll remove those, and then there'll be sometimes they're like molded studs, so they're specially made and fitted, and there'll be various different sizes. There might be smaller ones or longer ones. They would have known as soon as they went on the pitch for a warm up what they're dealing with. Unfortunately, that pitch has been quite known this season for being in such a condition. Barcelona struggled with it and were falling all over the place. So I don't know if it is a tactic, maybe. I don't know. That's just speculating. But yeah, it's longer studs essentially is available. I would have assumed the players would have known that pretty much early on.
Yeah, before
they
before
kept slipping throughout the game.
Yeah, before these pitches, which are scientific products. Even back in the day, and you realise that pitches cut up worse than they don't cut up nowadays, right? They're woven with grass and synthetic materials. They don't cut up. You might get a couple of brown patches in the goal mouth, people crowding there for set pieces and stuff like that. But that's about it. You don't get the green grass down the wings and the muddy pitch through the middle anymore. But you'd have had longer studs back then. And if they knew this pitch was slippy anyway, surely someone should have done their research on this and said, look, guys, this pitch is renowned for people falling over. I mean, I'm not knocking a result because it's the same conditions for both teams, right? So we're not looking for an excuse there. But you would have thought, why wasn't this known? I mean, I didn't know nothing about the pitch before last night.
They must have been slipping about a bit while they were warming up or something like that. I'd have thought they'd have...
I mean, it was heavily raining before, wasn't it? There was heavy rain just before kickoff, so that might have caused some assistance in the problem. Let's be fair, we shouldn't make an excuse. The professional players at any point in that first 15 minutes, if I'd have slipped as Mickey van der Ven and gone in, I'd have instantly shouted over to the kit man and said, go get my big boots. And I didn't see anybody change the boots. So
is that a lack of leadership in that moment? Actually, someone putting their hand up though and saying,
maybe they didn't bring the stud with them.
I think that's just individuals. Like I would have. I mean, I used to have blades, and I used to have molds, and I used to have studs. And you used to just take them out with you, and they've got a kit man that'll just run back to the bin, and they'll just come and bring that person's boots because they've obviously all got the number on it, and then that's it. But I just think they're just so down on any form of confidence that they probably just weren't even thinking about it. They're just, oh my god, I've fallen over. I've got to and they just. Never even thought, hang on a minute, I should change my boots here. Everything's going wrong. Everything you can think of has gone wrong.
Did you see any of the Atletico players just out of interest? Were they
they did
as well?
Yeah.
A couple did. Not as bad. A couple did. But if you look at the Barcelona game that was there a couple of weeks ago, they were all over the place as well. The pitch is terrible.
Their keeper let in a terrible goal, didn't he, as well, where he missed the ball? Didn't he?
He just went under his. He just went under his foot.
Yeah,
just went. I think it's like a back pass.
I'll come to you, Phil, as you're the fan. On 17 minutes, the Vicaria for Kinski. There was a lot made of the fact that Tudor did sort of pat him on the back and console him. I think Tudor's head was probably in a spin at 3-0, to be honest with you. But I'm not sticking up for Tudor anyway. I'm just saying, I get why he didn't. I don't think it was deliberate snub, but it could have been. But I mean, I don't think so. But I'd like to not think so anyway.
Doesn't look good at all, though. And to be honest, it's very bad. Regardless of whether he didn't, I don't know, he was, all over the place or not. It's very bad man management. Doesn't look good in front of the fans and in front of the team and in front of the press. Some of the other players, I can't remember which ones, but a couple of our players were trying to console him, when he came off. And I think when he went down the tunnel, Solanke and Gallagher, I think, went with him
and
down the tunnel and kind of went with him to the dressing room, I guess, so fair play to them. I would expect the manager anyways to offer some kind of consoling to him, and give him a hug. And honestly, it makes it worse in terms of the fact that Tudor did give him the opportunity in this game. It was Tudor's decision to promote him for this game. He gave him the opportunity, and for him not to react and actually pretty much blank him. If you look when he walks past, Tudor's off to the left, but he doesn't look at him. Doesn't look at the player. He let a
very early goal in again in the first couple of minutes against Villa in the cup away.
Yeah, but the reality is, keepers have got to play as well. They got to play. They got to get game time, right? To get into form, right? You can't just bring a keeper in, I think, from nowhere into match situations and expect them to deliver. Remember, Kinski made his debut at Anfield after signing last summer in front of a terrible back line, and he actually played very well, and he distributed the ball fantastically well in that game as well. I think there's no doubt that Kinski is a very good keeper. As I said before, I think he's still going to get to the top if he can, keep his positivity and everything else and work around this, right? And whatever, I'd still like to think, I know fans were writing on WhatsApp saying he's done with us, but I'd still like to think that obviously with a new manager in the summer and everything else, that he can still play a part in our future, because I think he's good. But look, he took him off. I can understand why he took him off. Some fans might also say, well, just give him to half-time or something, give him a chance still. But I think because he made 2 errors and the speed of those goals flying in, so quickly at the beginning of that game, with all that stress, I think it's fair enough to take him off. But again, the way that he did it is not acceptable as a manager, I think. And I think for me, it came across very badly. And to be fair, most of the press, including, good, not just Boulevard press and stuff, but like good, solid sports reporters out there, including Henry Winter, people like that, they've written good pieces on that today. So, it's regrettable. It's such a shame, to be honest, that he had to go through that. And right, I feel really bad for him, and I feel sorry for him, because he will feel that he's let the whole team down, the whole fan base down. And to be honest, he's probably questioning his his ability as a keeper probably a bit today, in his career, right? He's going to be, his confidence is going to be right down there, but he has the ability and he's young, so I hope he can come back from it.
Gary, I'll come to you. I will come to you, sir.
I just think that was poor management, the way that when Kinski come off, no acknowledgement. I mean, he knew Kinski was coming off. He could have given him a pat on the back or just some form of acknowledgement, like, you tried and stuff like that. And to have Zit just totally blank him was just zero man management. And what we need at the moment as a club is a man manager. We need someone who makes his players confident and makes them, want to play out of their skin. And as soon as he done that, I could pretty guarantee that some of the players have gone more against him than possibly what they already were. Tudor, do you know what I mean? The way he just reacted to Kinski. I think it was shocking, absolutely shocking.
Gary, I mean, he's had his carious moments, Kinski, but I mean, when were you going to play him? If you weren't going to play him in a Champions League, you've got the league games, which are vitally important to us as well. We could say much more important, the situation we find ourselves in. So when were you going to actually play him? He wasn't going to get a game if it wasn't a Champions League. Doesn't seem to me he would anyway.
No, probably not. The Premier League is the most important aspect of our season. Do you throw him in away in such a hostile environment? I don't know. I don't know him personally. He's 22 years old. He's been at the club for 14 months and played 13 times. So it's not like he's a regular, and he's, it's essentially like us going, let's put Callum Olasesi in centre midfield. In a reality, it's foreign for Callum. That was Anthony's first Champions League game, and we're putting him in a quarter final in a really hostile environment. And look, you either sink or swim as a professional, as a top goalkeeper. Unfortunately, he's sunk. I really hope that this isn't reflective of him and his career going forward. Certainly, if he goes in goal at home, I'm sure we'll give him a real good reception to say that we're behind you. And ultimately, there were 2 mistakes. The first one happened, and then he made a pass to his left-hand side after that. Because for me, I would have, if I was on the touchline, my first thing after him conceding, the first goal would be pass it back to him, get him to touch the ball and get him to move it. And as soon as he got it and moved it, I thought, oh, great, we're good. And look, he slipped. He didn't slip. He just took his eye off the ball and tried to do it with his left foot. He's panicking. It's in a situation. We're in a really difficult situation as a club. I think that in terms of what Si was saying, that there is zero man management. You could see that yesterday. We are in a dogfight. Let's no frank about it. And in a dogfight, you need someone that can motivate you, and that is a good, solid man manager. And yesterday, not only did the Spurs fans see it, but the entire world saw that we lack a man manager. Because that to me was there's no excuse for the way he treated a number of the players, especially a young man, and then to come out in the post-match press conference or the interview and call him that guy again showed total disrespect. Didn't even use his name, just said that guy. I had to take him off. That guy. To me, he's come in. He doesn't know this team, doesn't know the players clearly. He's out of depth, and I felt for Tony, I must admit. But yeah, this is the elite of the elite, and like I said, you're either going to sink or swim, and unfortunately for us, he sunk.
Yeah, Phil, to add what Gary's alluded to, I mean, when you're talking about dogfight, surely you play Solanke in there with Richarlison. Players that close the ball down more than Wani. I mean, and you do that in the league games as well. But look, I think we've seen Wani play for Eintracht. I mean, he's a fantastic player. Got the big move to PSG, ends up at Juventus. I think there's a very good player in there, but it's just not for us. I don't want him in this team when we're fighting in a dogfight, Phil.
Frankly. He's a very good player, and he's very talented, and he's played for France in World Cup finals, and he's proven himself over a couple of seasons that he can play at the highest level. But it just hasn't worked. He wasn't fit when he joined us, right? And it took him months to get match fitness, and I don't think that helped him. And look, he's just come into an absolute shit show of a team and of a club and of a whole management structure. Yeah. So. You probably don't know anyone, I don't know what our kind of player, bear in mind how crap our club is in the background and stuff. I don't know what our player liaison is nowadays in terms of foreign, players coming here, to a new city, right? And not
the player liaison is the bald-headed guy that gives him a hug. That's Daniel Levy's brother-in-law. That's Daniel Levy's brother-in-law. He I can't remember his name. That he is the player liaison. He's the one that hugs him. And
there was loads of online rumors about him, wasn't there? That he's like a kind of not a mole, or kind of feeding information or whatever, right? As an example, which I'm sure he wasn't. I'm sure he's not. But look, it has. He looks to me, Moani, just lost, and he doesn't want to be there, and he doesn't want to be in a relegation fight. He wants to get back to Paris and then go wherever else. That's the reality. But you're right about Tudor. He should play the best players that he's got at the moment, also that fit the fight. And that is someone like Solanke, because we know that he's an ultimate presser. We know that he runs. We know that he puts in the hard graft and he can finish. And on reflection, again, why is he not starting that game? Why is he not starting that game? It's actually... It's not good. And I think, as like what Gary said as well, and slightly as well, is that Tudor doesn't seem to understand his players in terms of what they can or can't do. He doesn't seem to understand the roles that they can or that they should be playing, and he's almost playing a bit of he's very indecisive. He's trying things out, he's changing things every game, and I think he's got zero rapport with the players. I think the players absolutely do not connect with him at all. Can just imagine him in the dressing room, kind of half, shouting at them, or just talking at them or talking to them, and them just not feeling anything for this guy. That's the problem here, and that's not going to change. The more games we play with him, the more time he gets with the players, or the time he gets to work out what tactics to play, that's not going to change anything. He's never won this set of players, and he's only going to lose them further. That's the issue.
Change of goalkeeper. 5 minutes later, he's picking the ball. Trying to pick the ball out the back of it. This was a weird one, even watching it on TV. Wasn't sure. It went to the referee's watch, didn't it? 22 minutes, movement free kick. Vicario parries. It was a decent parry.
But, it was a good save. It was a good save by Vicario, from I think it was Sarr. The free kick coming and it flicked off Sarr's head, but it was great reaction save by Vicario. But then obviously no one was there for the follow-up apart from Athletico head and it was over the line at the end of the day. There's not much we can do about that. Like I said, it's just, it's that split instinct, that split-second instinct. You wanted someone there, but I just think the confidence is so low in the players that, if we were on a good run, things like that go for you. That our defender would have been first there to clear it. I mean, it goes exactly with their fifth goal when we, I know we'll come up to that shortly, but with Richarlison's header, and then they go straight up the other end and score. It just seems that everything is going against us. And I mean, as well as the fans just losing all confidence and will and everything like that, I think the players are as well. So I just thought, I feared the worst when that fourth one went in. I don't know about you guys, but I
we all did.
This could be a major embarrassment. This could.
And then Gary, coming to you, 4 minutes later, 4-1. Richarlison cuts the ball back. He did well. And Porro did well because that first touch was so important, wasn't it? It was the right touch, and to get it under a good goalkeeper like Oblak,
Yeah, it's good finish. I like Pedro Porro. I've always been a big fan of his. I think he's just played so much recently that performances are obviously going to affect him. But in attacking areas, I just think he's good. I've said before, I've said a number of times, I wouldn't even mind him playing at the right of a front three and having Spence behind him, and seeing how that goes. No, not at all. I'd have a back forward, have Spence at right back. I'd even push him maybe right of a midfield or a midfield four. But if we're playing 4-3-3, try it there, and you could have Mickey at left back, and you got two strong centre backs. But again, I like Pedro. I've been a fan of his for a long time. I think he's better attacking, and I do actually think Jed Spence is better defensively than going forward. I think he loses the ball far too much. But yeah, good finish. And again, somebody that's shown a bit of fight. And it just, funny enough, the one of the very few in our club that has been in a relegation fight. And granted, this wasn't a part of it, but this needs to be the performances or the way they handle themselves last night needs to be taken into a dogfight. Is Richarlison. Again, Richarlison works his arse off again.
Right, a couple of points, Phil. Lookman's shot got down there. Vicario saves near post. Good start. 35 minutes. Another decent save for him. This was controversial though, Phil. 35 minutes. VDV studs up. Hard tackle. To me, he got the ball. I thought they overplayed this. He did play the ball and the player. It's a good job he got a touch on the ball. I thought he got a touch on the ball, what I see. But
I think that's a red card, personally.
You still think it was red, yeah?
Absolutely.
I fear the red.
It's reckless.
I was probably being defensive. He's one of our players, I'm naturally.
If that was in the Premier League, he's off all day long.
I expected it.
But the top of his foot, he did clip the ball, and I think that's what saved him.
He got the ball, but he was reckless and over the top of it, and he would followed through. If Romero was sent off at Manchester United, he's going.
Yeah.
This is a red for me.
He was very lucky. I thought it was a red. I would have given a red card.
First bit of luck with that this season, then.
Yeah. If it was the other way round, we'd be asking for a red, for the opposition for that one. He was very lucky, and actually, it was lucky in the game, right? Because based on how things had gone, it was going to be a red, wasn't it? So we were quite lucky not to go down to 10 at that point. But again, it was reckless. So that's the thing, right? It was reckless from Van der Ven. And again, he's playing recklessly. He's not
just
playing.
Looks like he's losing it at the moment. Van der Ven losing with all the pressure that's going on at the club with the performances. I mean, he's only just got sent off, and I think he knew what he was doing with that. Like, do you know what I mean? The way he flew in there, and he just lost his head again. And leaders like him and Romero, we need them keeping their heads at the moment, the most important ones, to keep their heads and bring all the other players along with them. But yeah, I mean, he was really lucky, really lucky.
Right, it was 4-1 at half time. Any of you can take this. What was your thoughts at 4-1? We're out, and it's gone.
Yeah, it's game over, isn't it?
Yeah. My thought was,
over.
right, I'm going to bed. That was it. I'm going to bed, and that was it.
You did. You put it in our group chat, didn't you? I'm off to bed. You did put it in our group chat, yeah.
Good job there were no cats in kicking distance, yeah.
Mine was asleep actually between my legs. Bless her. So,
Right.
No, I didn't kick her out.
It was wires. Right. It's we got 370 of you viewers on various platforms, which is brilliant for a midweek show, honestly. Like, probably thanks to these guys as well.
What you got to think though, sorry on that, Adrian, is the second half that we did draw the second half. Let's be honest.
We're going to come to the second half, but just want to plug you. So, guys, get over to Project Spurs. Great content from Gary. You'll find Phil over there, Si over there. Me and Ian will be over there at times as well on their shows as well. So get over there, give the videos a thumbs up, and subscribe to their channel. Again, Si, you can find him on XCOM. Get over there, subscribe to his channel. Same with Phil. Get over there. You can find him on XCOM. Get over there. And us as well. And obviously you can find us here. And if you like the content that you're viewing now, guys, and listening to, please get over to the YouTube channel and give the video the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because it helps the algorithm. We pride ourselves on bringing you good content and getting excellent guests on, obviously. Right. So,
They weren't available tonight, so you got us.
Yeah. They all cried off. These are proper Spurs diehards to come on here, right? So that was 4-1 at half time. Then we get the first substitution. Solanke for Moani. Hooray. Gallagher for Tell. Wanted to probably beef the game up, make sure we didn't concede too much more. Then, who wants this? 55 minutes, 5-1. That touch by Griezmann, like sort of backhilled it. They sort of backed it this hill, across into the front. Our two centre backs were up for because Richarlison just made the keeper make a blinding save. This was 12 seconds later, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't have more poxy luck. Don't get me wrong, it was a terrific flick. If someone like Marnie had done that, you'd be raving about it, right? He burst through. Porro couldn't quite keep up with him, and
he gave up, I think, at the end.
Yeah.
Didn't he? He
He
gave up.
didn't want to do a VD and pull him down, did he?
The last
stopped.
5 little bit, he just gave up. But Jed Spence, fair play to him, he carried on. But Porro just gave up.
I think it's again just showing on the lack of decisiveness in front of goal. We should be putting that away. The header from Romero later on, in the first half should have been a goal. There was another one that was close as well. If we put our chances away, we still had an opportunity to potentially even got on to win that.
Awful. The result is, but yeah,
I don't think the result's awful, because I think they are three mistakes that you're not going to see all the time. People are not going to slip, and I don't think it's an awful result. I'm downhearted by it, but if you take those out, and if we are more clinical in front of goal, we've beaten Atletico Madrid away. That's the reality. The reality is we weren't clinical enough, and we've slipped 3 times, and they've gone on and basically we've given them a 3-goal head start.
You're right.
The second half performance is encouraging because they didn't stop. They didn't give up, and they kept going. And as I say, if we were more decisive in front of goal, we would have been okay. But that shows the lack of confidence and believability, if that's the right term to use, in yourself. Because Romero, for the header, if he'd have put that across the goal, I think that goes in. But that, you know, any other time he's probably done that. So it's just confidence, and winning breeds confidence. We just honestly we need one win, and we're going to be
confidence is fragile at best. But even in the second half, a couple of games when it's turned out to be a shit show, we have shown fight. I mean, even against Palace at home, if you actually looked at the duels afterwards, you can say some teams it's easy. Look, you can take it two ways with the result: half empty, half full. Yeah, we played better. Yeah, or they stepped off the gas. You can say that with any team. But I look at the duels in the game and challenging winning second balls, which are in different positions. It's different if the team's 3-0 up and they're playing the ball around their back 4 or 5, you know, and just coasting, you know. So I agree. I think we showed fight. We could have quite easily have crumbled completely during this game at 4-0, you know.
This season, though, it mirrors a bit, though, like other second halves this season that we've had, you know, where we've been frankly awful in the first half, and then we've kind of come out, whether we've been often a couple of goals down and we've actually played pretty well in the second half. You know, even the Villa game, I think it was, right, in the Cup, springs to mind as an example. And it just shows, that there is still something in the team. You know, there's still something in the players that they can just raise themselves a bit, or, you know, whether they've still got that pride or whatever it is, you know, in there. And as you said, we can argue about how much Atletico really put into that second half. You know, they knew they were several goals ahead, right? I'm sure they were just playing in second gear, right? Trying to soak up a bit, and they probably thought they're going to score another 2 on the break or whatever. But respect to us in the second half for still believing. I guess that's the point, isn't it? So there is something there. There is something there. We just need to harness it somehow.
Yeah, we've
just
got
to give you some sort of encouragement that PSG beat Chelsea 5-2, so it's not all doom and gloom. We also lost 5-2, so.
I said if they hit form last season, they were in such crap form, and they had to qualify, and then they went through and won the competition, and in Starbury smacked Milan, right?
I think our favourite club from the Arctic Circle won 3-0 at home to Sporting Lisbon, and what a team, and what a place that is. That is unreal what Bodo Glimt are doing right now. I
think we all want PSG or Bayern who are flying as well to like be the ones that knock Arsenal out.
Exactly.
Personally, I'd like Bayern Munich to win the Champions League just for Harry.
Well, there are other English players there as well. Right.
Yeah, but I'm not bothered about that.
One of 5 we picked up, Sive. 1 of 5, right? And this one, because I'm a big Archie Gray fan, I'm a biased Spurs fan. It's a yellow. I see these manhandling challenges in the Premier League all the time and nothing happens. They get a free kick. So, and then we sub it. Paulina for a Richarlison. Really? I mean, I get it. What, you've given up on the game? I mean, I don't know. What was your take on this substitution, anyone?
I think he gets all of his subs wrong, to be completely honest with you. I find all of his substitutions quite baffling. The biggest one, I know this isn't relating to this game, but against Crystal Palace, we got 7 minutes to go after the red card, and instead of just tucking in Archie Gray at centre back and going to a back 4, he changes 2 centre midfielders and then puts a striker at left wing back. It just baffles me. The players look lost again. I just find his substitutions very confusing. And look, I'm not playing on the pitch, I don't know what the plan is, but I'd like to think I might know a little bit about football, but it just baffles me with some of the things he does.
Watching Spurs this last season makes me wonder if I know anything about football.
Honestly, I just can't understand why we're just not playing basics. Just play basic. We are in an absolute doghouse at the moment. The confidence is shot. The players look berate of any confidence. Publicly, they're being spoken down to by an interim, and the subs. I mean, obviously it's a different game, but the Palace game, there was a break, and I think it was for Ramadan. I told the lads on Monday that Basuma was just going to him, "What are we doing?" And again, it's just things like this. I look at the subs he makes, and I just don't feel inspired by it, unfortunately.
And yet, Phil, 76 minutes, it's 5-2. Oblak made probably his only mistake he's made in a goal in his whole life career, right? Pass. Porro pass. Nice again. Gary was just alluding to how much he likes Porro. Too slanky. Still had a little bit to do. You know.
Good finish.
Good
Actually,
finish.
really, if you look at it back, a really, really good finish. Like how he hits it. He had a bit to do, but he absolutely slams that in there like really easily. You know, the keeper's got no chance. Yeah, it was actually like a good move, right? Finally, we actually took advantage of a mistake, right, from the opposition. When was the last time we did that? You know, when they invite us to actually score goals like that, we don't seem to ever either get them in the first place or we don't take advantage of them. We did. And again, like Solanke got his goal. Solanke's got a really good scoring record since coming back now, hasn't he? He's scored like 6 or 7 goals.
He got 15 last season, I think 8 in the league and 7 in the cup. I didn't think that was bad for a first season at a new club, but you know,
I thought he had a good season last season overall. You know, and he was missing for a bit with injury, wasn't he? In the end, and it took him a bit of time to get up and running. But look, Solanke's a really good striker and a really good player, and yeah, it's just baffling again. Why didn't he start him yesterday? You know, because he adds so much more to our game just through his pressing and energy, and you know, he's a handful, right? You know, he's a big guy. He's pretty fast, really. You know, or at least he's no slouch. You know, he's not the fastest player, but he's not slow, and he causes problems. But yeah, it was a good goal, and you know, it put a bit more it made the score a tiny bit more respectable, right? I always think a 5-1 or a 6-1, you know, looks a million times worse than a 4-2 or a 5-2 for whatever reason. But we obviously still clearly lost the game, right? But you know, at least as Gary said, we drew the second half in the end, right? So something to cling to somewhere.
I still think it's a bridge too far. I mean, I'm not saying we couldn't score 3 goals, but we're just always going to concede, aren't we? It just seems to be that way. Yeah. On 80 minutes, Sire, Dan's all I've got is yellow card. 83 minutes, Javi for Spence. You know, what's he supposed to do in 10 minutes? I mean,
first of all, Adrian, why bring Polina on for Richarlison that little bit earlier, a defensive midfielder for a striker when we need to score another goal, and then that substitution just then he brings a defensive player off for an attacking player. So I just think he just doesn't know the players or anything. Yeah,
you either go for it or you don't, do you? Yeah, you either go for it or you don't.
It was like he was undecided with both of those substitutions on whether he was going to go for it or not. I mean, the return leg, he's just got to go all out for it. We've got nothing to lose, haven't we?
You
know what's really weird though is that Atletico didn't press us in that game, not properly. You know, they weren't all over us, and we always have problems when we play against teams that press us hard. And Xavi has had his best games in the Champions League when he's been playing against teams that haven't pressed us. Yesterday would have been the perfect game for him to actually get on the ball, and he would have got space on the ball as well. Why didn't he pick him? Like Atletico were never like they didn't win lots of balls from us, right? Because they were pressing us super hard, right? We gave the ball away a lot, but that's just because we're crap at the moment. But Atletico didn't make it super difficult for us, and that's another disappointing thing. That maybe we could have taken more advantage of that, because Atletico weren't amazing, were they? Right? Were they 5 goals amazing yesterday? No, they weren't. We gave them 3 gifts. They scored a goal on the break. You know, and then the other one as well. But like, do you know what I mean? Like he should have played Xavi yesterday, actually. Xavi and Solanke. Why didn't he do it?
Reality as well is Premier League teams, or the Premier League is so lauded as the best league. There's not one Premier League side has won in this Champions League in the last 2 days. You know, Liverpool lost. Obviously, we lost. Newcastle drew, didn't they? And they probably should have won with the penalty. Man City got beat 3-0. PSG won 5-2, and Arsenal again cheated for a penalty. drew 1-1. So yeah, got to look at it sometimes like that. Okay, we've gone there. The score line looks bad, but I think some elements of the performances is something to grab onto. So I think that might be professional pride.
I thought our man Gray
anyway.
didn't disgrace himself yesterday either. It was all right. Again, looks like he should keep his midfield place. Oh, you can't overplay him, but he should keep it. Right. At the end of the game, 90+2. The one good thing the referee did, apart from book 5 of our players, was he could have played a couple of minutes extra. But after the wooziness, I mean, any news on this, Gary? Have these guys got concussion?
I don't know.
It looked like Polina went off under the concussion protocol.
It will come down to the club now because they weren't subbed off for concussion protocols. If they were subbed off, they would have to miss several weeks, which would be 2 games. So that would be Liverpool
10 days
and the
minimum
following.
before they have the second.
Yes, I think it might be 10 to 14 days, but they weren't subbed off, so it's down to the club now. It'll be the club's situation, I guess. So that depends on how they are. If we go into Liverpool without Mickey van der Ven and Romero,
oh my God,
fair play to Romero. Takes a lot of stick. I remember at Brentford away when he was concussed, he wanted to stay on. He wanted to stay on when he'd done his toe and all that shit. He is a warrior. I'll give him his due. He is a warrior, whether you're a critic or not. He is a warrior. So this is concerning, though, with Liverpool up next. Let's talk about stats. All right, 58, 42 shots, 7 on target to 5. And then clearances, they made 17 to 12. We actually created more in this game, Gary, than we have created in lots of games, I mean, as daft as it seems. Interceptions there, 5. We made 11. Look, all right, we know they had more of the play. Pass it, crosses 14 to 11. Fair enough, but actually, for creating chances, sometimes we've not created a chance towards half time in some games.
I think it comes a bit to what Phil was saying earlier. That you are given more time in Europe and more space. It does suit these players better. We do see better performances from us in Europe. How oddly that sounds, because in the Premier League, it is just it is pure athletes at this stage, isn't it? It is runners, non-stop runners, and I think that's where Ange Postecoglou was trying to go with his recruitment of people he was recommending, because effectively we've probably got 3, maybe 4 runners in the middle because of the way he wanted to play. Now we're trying to play a different way. It's not really working for us. But in the Premier League, it's so physical and so demanding fitness-wise, whereas in Europe, it is a more technical and time is given. And I think that our players are perform better, especially someone like Xavi Simons. So it's probably why we're getting these chances. But again, we aren't putting them away when needed. We could have had 2, maybe 3, if we were lucky, further goals yesterday. Just need to be more clinical.
I mentioned this earlier for those of you that joined us late. There were 10 slips by Spurs players. We questioned the footwear, blah, blah, blah. This is the bit I think Gary wanted to come on to, so I'll come to you. Have you heard anything? Is he being sacked or what's happening? I've heard all I've seen in the media, but I take a lot of the media speculation with a pinch of salt. Is that he's got the press conference Friday, but
I don't. The reality is, I don't know. My opinion is he won't be. But again, if we get through tomorrow and he's still there, then he will be. I know that sounds a bit. I'm trying to cover all elements, but I'm not. It's just the reality of it. I can't see how you bring in a manager for a new manager bounce, 4 games, 4 defeats, 14 goals conceded, 4 different formations. So 4 different setups. Formations have changed as well. I couldn't sit here now, hand on heart, and tell you one thing that he has come in and improved. If anything, I think we've gone further backwards. Maybe the second half is something to grab onto, but I think Phil knocked it on the head as well there, saying, did they really need to come out in the second half in terms of Atletico Madrid? Maybe not. But I can't see something that he has come in and improved. If anything, I think he's lost the dressing room quite quickly by all accounts. I don't particularly like the way he comes out in the media after games and effectively came out on his first one saying 100% would be okay. And then the next game saying, well, we're poor in defence, we're rubbish in midfield and we're not that good up front. What signals does that send to an already group that are quite clearly struggling. And Ange Postecoglou's comments today on TNT knocked it on the, he hit it out of the park. These lads just need reminding of how good they are, and they need an arm around them and some confidence. And I know that sounds really silly for someone that's sitting here talking about someone that's earning 200 grand a week, but we are that the pressure that they must feel and go under must be horrendous. The reality is, I think they are absolutely petrified of being relegated. I also think, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'll probably say I'm quite right, is that I think Vinay and Yang Lang are petrified of having to sack him because their jobs will be on the line. I think they might, because this is two decisions that they've made effectively has taken us potentially into the Championship for the first time in 50 years. Their jobs are as much on the line as Tudor. But yeah, there needs to be a change. If you're going to ask me the next question, who? Again, it needs to be somebody that understands Tottenham, understands the league, understands the players. Ange Postecoglou was asked on TNT Sports earlier before we came on, would you go back? And he said no comment. Now, in the overlap, when he was asked, he said he doesn't go back. But today he said no comment. They're not going to ask him back. I get it. But that type of thing, someone that knows the players,
Mason
knows the league, knows the club. There's probably three people that would come into me. Ryan Mason would be one, Glenn Hoddle would be the other, and Chris Hughton would be another one. And if we could get a combination of all three, maybe. But we need somebody that's at the club. And if it has to be internally, as you know, I think Wayne Burnett would be perfect to come in. I don't think they will give it to someone like that, unfortunately. But he plays the way that Tottenham have wanted to play. And he's been at the club for nearly 10 years now. Knows all the academy boys, probably trained some of the seniors as well. Someone like that, and then with a more senior head with him, whoever that might be. But we need Tottenham people in footballing decisions and on that bench, because if you look in that 11 or in that, in our starting 11, there's not one person that's come through the Tottenham academy. There's not one person sat on our bench that's come through the Tottenham ranks, whether it be a player or previously, a coach coming through the system. You look at directors, there's not anybody there. You look at the people that are running the club. He's an Arsenal person. We need Tottenham people in Tottenham position in top footballing positions. And
I'm on record as saying that even if you've got someone comes in as sporting director, if there's ex-legends, whether it was Hoddle,
we need to take the German model. We need to take the German model, the Bayern Munich model, the Oliver Kahns or the Matthias Sammer or Glenn Hoddle should be sat at that top of that tree.
Have a position in his club as a consultant. And if he didn't want to be, if any of these ex-legends wanted to be a future sporting director, had never done it, they could tuck in under the wing of the next sporting director to go and
we can sit here now
done or whatever.
And there's 500 people watching this. I could almost put on what little money I have that the 504 people that are watching this right now, including us four, if someone said you could have Glenn Hoddle or Yang Lang, we're all going to go, well, Glenn Hoddle's played at the top league. He's been an England manager. Okay, forget about what happened there, but he's been the England manager. To be fair, if he'd have stayed as England manager, I think we could have ended up winning something. Let's make no mistake about that. He's been at Chelsea, done relatively well at Chelsea. He's been at our club, and he fucking loves this club over some bloke that is sat in Amsterdam right now. Do you know what I mean? They're the people you want in the top positions, and that Vinay isn't watching this, and Nick Belcher are not watching this, and they should be watching these type of programs. And if this would ever be able to get to them, I hope that they listen to this fan base, that they need people that love this club at the big table.
Yeah, I agree. Ex-legends should have parts as consultants or whatever, and if they want to progress, they should be, taken under the wing of a sporting director, or and then see how the job goes, what it entails, and learn from them. It should be like you say, the German model. Do you think Tudor's going to go, or do you think the board might think, well, if we do this, it looks like we're panicking? I'm sure they are anyway, but not in public. And so we'll keep him and just see it through.
Before yesterday, I was like, obviously there'd been rumours that he was going to get possibly the next 4 games, including yesterday. But after what I saw yesterday and the reaction towards Kinski, the way the players run after Kinski, supporting him, that the zero lack of motivation and man management, I want him gone. And
we haven't talked about Jed Spence either. The Jed Spence situation. He had to go to Spence come off.
And he shook Tudor's hand as well.
He had to go up to him.
I didn't see that. What?
So he was subbed off, and Tudor ignored him. He went to the bench and high-fived everyone, then walked up to Tudor and patted him on the back.
Fair play to Spence. And then there's been rumours about
then put his hand out.
Then
put his hand out for his hand to be shaken and say, "I've come off. You need to shake my hand. This is what we do here." And Tudor then shook his hand.
It's just
your on your take on Tudor, Phil, because we're nearly done here.
He has to go ASAP. I was really hoping that he was going to be gone today, to be honest, that they would make a snap decision. They haven't yet. I'm still hoping that it might somehow happen tomorrow or on Friday, but I doubt it. I think he's got the Liverpool game. I guess realistically, to sack him after Liverpool and get someone else in just for Atletico is also a bit unrealistic. But you never know. You know, if it was someone like Mason and Hoddle, as an example, then for me, as I said, it's all about going to every single player and doing a one-to-one with them, sitting them down, finding out what they're feeling, what they're going through, and try and build that confidence in some shape or form with that person one-to-one, like any good manager would do in any walk of life, right? You know, and that's what they could theoretically still do even between those 2 games. But I think that Tudor realistically is probably going to get Liverpool and Atletico next week, and then they might make a decision then. But I just don't understand why we wouldn't make it now. You know, I mean, again, they've had long enough to kind of tap up people or like speak with the people like Mason or Hoddle, or I mean, I can't believe I'm saying Sean Dyche, but like, you know, I'd rather have Mason and Hoddle. I'd rather have that connection to the club because as Gary and Simon, as we've all said, we need someone who's got that club DNA to sit in front of the players and impart that on them. And I think they need to make it clear to these players how important this club is, how important the fan base is, what it means to the fan base, and just try and build that confidence one-to-one. But again, if it wasn't one of those guys, do you know what? Right now, I can't believe I'm saying it about Sean Dyche, but I'd probably take him if he was the only, like I said, the only option. But you know, if he was an option before Forest, as an example, then I'll take Sean Dyche for sure. But I'm not sure it's going to be someone like that. But I just
he's the bookie's favourites at the moment.
Is he?
He's the bookie favourite. Yeah.
At least he knows the Premier League. You know, he is a man manager. Sean Dyche is a man manager, by the way, right? Obviously, he doesn't play very nice football.
To all of you, before we finish, just would you? I mean, Liverpool away. I mean, do you think the board would think, well, you know,
take the fall for it.
We're going to bring someone in for Liverpool away and let them start off with a.
No, let Tudor take the fault for it and then bring in somebody. Like I say, Sean Dyche is favourite for it. He's 2-1 odds on at the moment. If you look at the first 10 games under Forest when he came in, actually done quite well, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I probably do. I do agree with Phil. I think he'll get Liverpool, Tudor. Unless something comes out tomorrow. If nothing comes out tomorrow, definitely got Ben. And I reckon they're doing some due diligence then and just let him take the fall. So again, I'm not expecting anything Champions League wise. I do want to add something before I go because it's just come out, unfortunately. Apparently, Luka Vuskovic is not keen on returning to Tottenham and Bayern Munich. Barcelona want him. he doesn't want to come back. According to Matt Barlow, Daily Mail, there was some conversation. I think it might have been Henry Winter. That don't quote me on it. No, it wasn't. It was on the Athletic, actually. I think it might have been Jay Harris. He said we effectively spent 15 million on Vuskovic. They reckon they could probably get Harry Kane number for him.
Yeah,
from Bayern.
Ajax was 12.5 mil or something when he was a 16-year-old.
They reckon there's potential to get something around a similar figure to what Harry Kane went for. So that the club is probably not going to say no to that.
You think they're going to get 86 mil for him as an 18-year-old? He's only just signed a contract with Spurs when he was 18. Because that
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he signs his contract.
Yeah, I mean,
if there's 80 million on the table, this ownership ain't saying no to that.
I'm taking all these player rumours because of the position we're in with a pinch of salt, to be honest with you. Si, do you think, or to all of you, do you think that we're finished with this? Do you think that they would wait until after the Liverpool game, then get rid of Tudor, because then the new manager could use the Athletico Madrid game as a springboard?
Yeah, potentially. I would rather them do that, to be honest. Get rid of him after the Liverpool game, so then at least he's got a bit longer with the players building up to the Forest game, which is out of all the next few games, ignoring that the Champions League, that is probably our biggest game since the Europa final last year, really, isn't it? So I would like to see him gone after the Liverpool game. Another name I've mentioned, not a massive fan, but I don't know how Porro would react, but Tim Sherwood as well, just someone who's got Spurs in them, to be honest. He had a good win record when he was there.
Scott Parker's got more chance than Sherwood. Burnt his bridges. I think Sherwood burnt his bridges. Any comments on me thinking that possibility that he could be sacked after Liverpool?
I think that I wonder whether we are trying to line up again. I'm hoping it, but I'd like to think that we are lining up. Someone, obviously, whether it's Deitch now already or whether it is Mason. I think they're going to give him Tudor Liverpool, assuming we're going to lose and probably lose quite heavily, and then he'll get fired anyways. He'll take the fall for it. To be fair, we've still got Monday, Tuesday before Atletico. I think it's on Wednesday, isn't it? So there's 2 days. I would like them to make that decision straight after the game, assuming they've got someone lined up, and then put them in on Monday morning. Get the players in on Monday and just do 2 days with the players, and just try and get something from Atletico, because the tie's not dead.
Get his work permit and then get sacked.
The only saving grace as well after Nottingham Forest is there's a 3-week gap between the next game. So if we sack him after Liverpool, which I think is probably what will happen, we've then got a free hit in the Champions League for whoever's coming in, and then they've got the critical game against Forest, which I think is the biggest game in our club's history, and then he's got a 3-week gap to try and get something from the remaining games. Sunderland up next.
I mean, I'm confident though that the board will get this right and they get rid of Tudor.
No,
we're not confident, are we? It could be a left field name again because Tudor. So, I'm not confident they'll get the correct decision if they do get rid of him. I'm not confident they will get rid of him, to be honest, because as Gaz said earlier,
I can see him sticking with him.
What happens if we draw at Anfield? But don't play particularly well, but pick up a point. Again, we get to this ridiculous situation, like it was with Thomas Frank at the end, where we go game to game almost, and then if we pick up a win or if we get a result, it's extended by another game, or
they're just trying to get through this season, aren't they? They're doing everything they can to get to the summer so they can bring in whoever it is they want in the summer and then do this big rebuild that they're consistently talking about. They brought out the minutes from the fan Fab earlier, Fab advisory, and it's all in there as well that we need to invest in the first team and do all these things. So they are panicking. They need to get through to the summer, and that's essentially it. But I don't trust them to get anything. I don't even trust them to make me cheese on toast, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worrying.
We're finished with this, guys.
Sorry, just quickly, they did say before Atletico that there was reports saying that they were going to give Tudor 4 games, wasn't it? That they were going to give him Forest. And obviously
it wasn't clear if it was 4 in total or 4 additional. It wasn't clear in that in the document. I think it was Henry Wind or something. It might have been. Look, it could be anyone at this point who's brought it out, but it wasn't quite clear. Mike Law. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of transfer rumours just come out. Everybody seems to be linked to moving. Archie Gray, Bayern Munich, Bergvall, Villa and Chelsea, Vuskovic, Barcelona, Bayern. That's all from Matt Barley.
All their agents are panicking,
it's the agents.
aren't they? That's what's happening, all their agents.
Well, they're all under contract at the moment, so time to get concerned if anything gains gravitas.
Well, transfer window's closed as well, so it doesn't matter.
If we go down, I think irrelevant if we're under contract. Some of those players will be going to their agent. You've got to get me out of the club.
Well, it wouldn't be a complete fire sale if we got relegated, because we're Spurs, one fortunate position we have to be in. They bring in a lot of money through other events, so I don't think you'd see a mass exodus. But
the problem we've got there,
strategy
is we'll lose 250 million in revenue straight away. So yes, our commercial value is high, and our commercial value, what we make, will be more than any championships available funds in terms of transfer. So we make it there. But the problem we've got, and it's the biggest problem, is how expensive our stadium and training facilities is to run. In the championship, you can only lose 15 million a year. In the Premier League's 150 million. I think not only is our ownership shitting themselves, but I think the championship as well, because they're going to have an absolute juggernaut of a football club coming down that's effectively got one hit to get out of that league. And if we're in it for if we don't get it out first go, our losses are going to be huge, massively substantial. And it might be that we need to do a fire sale to offset any of those losses. So don't be surprised if that ends up happening.
As I said on a previous Darts podcast, I mean, there's no VAR in a championship, and it goes down to 8th position for the playoffs next season. So if we can't finish 8th in a championship, we might as well pack up and go.
It's about getting through, though. But the problem is, it might be all nice VAR, but you've got to think about the long-term future of that football club. If we don't get past in one season, we're fucked. And look at Leicester. And look at Sheffield Wednesday.
Guys, and the thing is, it's not going to be easy to get out of there, because every team that comes to our ground, if we're there, they're going to want to make a name for themselves.
We're going to be Wrexham.
They are doing that anyway, They are doing that anyway.
We're going to be like Wrexham. Everybody's want to come to Wrexham and put one over them because they got 2 Hollywood stars in there. They want to come to this big shiny stadium and put one over it. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Like an FA Cup game when players pick themselves up because they're against a bigger opposition. Every game will be like that for us. So it would not be easy to get out of there if we go down.
I'll give you a couple of banners just to finish with. I mean, these are our injury woes, and we don't know what's happening. VDV suspended for Liverpool. Paulinho and Romero, we don't know if they're fit to play, whether they've got slight concussion, but they haven't come under the concussion radar protocol. So, I mean, if we'd have had these fit, I mean, obviously we wouldn't be in a position we're in. But these are our remaining fixtures, guys. Are you hopeful? We're ending this year. Are you hopeful with these? It's hard to be.
I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we'll be okay.
We've got the worst form in the Premier League, and basically we've just tread water and stayed in the same position. But we need a win. One win could do it for us, If it's
we'll be okay. But we'll easily be okay here, but we need to make a change on the manager front, and we need someone who's just going to play it easy, play it basic. We need to get back to basics, and we need to do one-on-ones with the players, impart all of the stuff from the fans and the club, positivity, and play it simple. That's all we need. If we make that change and we do that, we'll stay up, because we'll get out of these results. We'll pick up enough. If we don't do that and the board or Vinay and Thingy sit on their laurels, I don't know if it's gonna work. I think it's as simple as that, literally.
Saving grace is if we do beat Forest, if we beat Forest, then the saving grace after that is Bergval and Mohamed Kudus are back, so that's a huge thing. But for me, Forest is the biggest game this club's probably ever seen. I think that's bigger than the Champions League final, because if we lose that, I don't think we pick up another point, because I think the players are gone after that, and I think the fan base is gone. So me, it's down to Forest. If we can get a result there, and then we just got to keep hoping other results go away, but we have to take it in our hands, and these are different places,
isn't it? Hoping other results go away.
I really hope it doesn't come down to Everton, because Everton will be essentially trying to get in Europe, and we're going to fight for a survival.
Well, one season we had a top class lead side at White Hart Lane. We had Alfie Conte stay up, and we won 4-2. And I was there. My God, you don't want to be in those games.
Do you think we're going to stay up?
I'm always glass 2/3 full, but I'm struggling. I'm struggling now because
Phil, you still think?
I think we're going to stay up, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to come down. I think it's going to come down to that match day. It's only going to be confirmed then. I don't think it's going to be last day of the season. But I think we're going to stay up.
Forest, I'll tell you after Forest.
Last day of the season, I think.
If we can beat Forest, I'm comfortable. If we lose, I'm not sure where we pick a result up. I think we might get a result at Wolves, maybe Leeds at home, but yeah, I think it comes down to Forest for me.
The saving grace is what you said, guys. After the Forest game, we might have a few players back, so, I'm clinging on to that, but we definitely need to get something out of the Forest game, just not lose it if we can.
At least we still have the goal difference as well, as King Hoddle says in the chat there.
Yeah, extra point.
That's an extra point.
Yeah, big up to all you in the chat. I'm sorry I couldn't get to your comments, and I actually forgot to put the live comments up. But thank you for your comments, and I want to thank. Look, we got 450 of you viewing us on various platforms, which is brilliant. I'm going to go through the links to these guys as well. So get over to Gary on Project Spurs, subscribe to the channel and give the videos a thumbs up. They do some excellent content over there. You can find Sion Brummy Spurs on XCOM. You can find Phil at Frankfurt Spurs on XCOM. You can find us on XCOM. We have got a big Facebook group. We can't get those over on here. Some people just like certain platforms or don't want to get involved too much heavily in social media because it can get a bit prickly out there at times, to say the least. And we got a good WhatsApp group. If any of you want to guest on our show, and I'm sure on Gary's show as well, all you've got to do is contact any of us, probably through private message on XCOM. We can take your name, exchange phone numbers, add you to the WhatsApp group, which we use as a sync for guests anyway, and then we can get you on our shows. I mean, guys, I've really enjoyed this show. It's been really good. Thanks for coming on. You've made it a really good show, and I know we'll be doing a lot more of these. So I want to thank Sire.
Thanks for having me, Adrian.
I want to thank Gary. I did get you late and all that. I was still recovering as well from the defeat, like you all are. I have to take a deep breath. And listen, these guys are brave to come on after defeats, and I've come on after so many defeats now. I think my Spurs immune system has got stronger since the day we were relegated in 76-77 season. I had to go and watch all these games on mud banks in the second division, right, in pissing rain, right, with no roofs, Right, guys, with that, thanks to you all. Like I say, please get over to Spurs Diehards and YouTube channel. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We will be back on Friday doing the preview of the Liverpool game. Sunday, I think I'll be doing Ian's show. That'll be post-match Liverpool game. Cross everything. I do hope to host a win sometime in the near future. And with that, big up to all you in the chat. Big up to you all watching us on various platforms, and a very big up to everyone who bothers to watch us and Project Spurs on playback as well. with that, thanks to you all again. I'm going to play you out of this.
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hearts, heart and soul. Blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hearts, heart and soul, lily white and navy blue.